Hi, I'm Marichamy, Weltech Multitech, Dr. Nangarajan, Dr. Samaya, Engineering College. So today I'm going to discuss about the type of visualization. So virtualization. So virtualization is the technology that allows to run multiple operating systems and applications on a single physical machine, effectively maximizing hardware utilization and efficiency. And regarding the definition, the virtualization is the creation of a virtual version of computer resources such as server, operating systems, and a storage device or network, allowing multiple systems run simultaneously on one physical hardware. Now, what is the key idea behind this virtual machine? So usually we can say the physical machine is the host machine, the virtual instance the guest machine. And the software layers that are involved is a virtualization. It is otherwise we can say it is a hypervisor, or otherwise we can say it is a virtual memory, virtual machine monitor. For example, for in the instance, a single powerful server in a data center can host several virtual machines, one running Linux for web hosting and another running for database management. All operating systems independently on the shared hardware. So, and so this architecture is regarding about the virtualization. So virtualization architecture. Let's look at the architecture behind the virtualization and how it separates the software environment from the hardware resources. Here we are having the hardware components are um, sorry, architecture components are hardware layer, hypervisor layer, and virtual machine. The hardware layer consists of the CPU, memory storage, and network interface. The hypervisor layer that consists of the virtualization software managing the virtual machines. The virtual machine, each virtual machine that on operating system and application. And the function behind the hypervisor is the hypervisor abstracts the hardware and allocates the resources to each virtual machine. And the multiple operating system can run concurrently on a single physical server. So under the virtualization opportunities. So in the opportunities, it occurs at a different system layers, hardware, operating systems, and application. Think we are creating several virtual computers from one physical computer. So that is the application. And then hypervisor. Hypervisor, so at the heart of the virtualization relies on the hypervisor actually. Sometimes called the virtual machine monitor or either VMM. So the definition of hypervisor is the hypervisor of the software that enables multiple operating systems to share the single hardware host. It manages CPU, memory, and input-output among different virtual machines safely and efficiently. And what are the types of hypervisors are So the types of hypervisors are a type 1 hypervisor. Otherwise, you can say bare metal hypervisor. And type 2 hypervisor is the hosted hypervisor. So type 1 hypervisor that runs directly on the hardware with no host OS used in enterprise environment. VM, for example, VMware EXXi, GEM, and KVM. So type 2 hypervisor is the top of the host operating system like Windows or Linux. It is easier for testing and learning. So virtual box, VMware, and workstation. This is the example for the type 2 hypervisor. And then, so we are going for the benefits of virtualization. So virtualization is not just a technical innovation, actually. It is a cost saving, efficiency boosting businesses strategy. The major benefits of the virtualization is resource sharing. Okay, resource sharing and cost reduction. Fewer physical server actually needed in this resource sharing and cost reduction. And then isolation. So what is isolation? Each virtual machine that runs independently, that minimizing the interference. Okay. And then third one is encapsulation. Each virtual machine that encapsulates its own operating system, apps, and data. And then portability. So portability, the virtual machines can be easily moved between the physical servers. And then the faster provisioning, quick creation and deployment of new virtual machine. And then a business continuity. A business continuity easier to back up, fail over, and the recovery. Okay, and then the simplified management. The simplified management, the centralized monitoring and the maintenance. So these are all the comes under the simplified management. Okay, so under then we are going for the slide. There is a types of hyper virtualization. So these are the types of virtualization. So we are having the lot of types of virtualization. The first one is application virtualization. The second one is network virtualization. Third one is desktop virtualization. And the fourth one is storage virtualization. Fifth one is server virtualization and data virtualization. So first one is that application virtualization. So that application virtualization that helps the user to have the remote access to an application from the server. The server stores all the personal information and other characteristics of the application, but we can still run on local workstation through the internet. Okay, so under the network virtualization. So network virtualization in the sense the ability to run the multiple virtual networks with each having a separate control and data plan. Yet go exists together on top of one of the physical network. So multiple virtual networks run on a single physical network. So it has the flexibility, security, and isolation. So it is the important property of network virtualization. So under then we're going for desktop virtualization. So in the desktop virtualization, the desktops are stored in data centers and accessed remotely. The mobility, centralized control. And then the storage virtualization. The storage virtualization combine the multiple storage devices into a single virtual storage pool. Okay, simplified management and scalability. So then server virtualization. It divides one physical server into multiple virtual servers that has a better resource utilization and it integrates the cost savings under the data virtualization. Okay, so then we are going for the data virtualization. The data virtualization integrates data from various sources into the unified logical view. So data consistently simplified Alex. Okay, it is the benefits of the data virtualization. So and then we are going for the next slide. The slide is virtualization layers. So virtualization can occur at different levels of abstraction in the computing stack. So from hardware to application. So the 5 abstraction levels are the instruction set architecture level, hardware abstraction layer level, operating system level, library support level, and application level. Okay, and then first we are going for the instruction set architecture level. So instruction set architecture level, in the sense it emulates the machine instructions. That is, for example, it's running say MIPS code on the x86. Okay, x86 the architecture. But, it has a lot of advantages. Okay, it is one of the advantages is the supports legacy systems. Okay, drawbacks, it has slow execution due to instruction translation. And then the hardware abstraction layer, the virtualization directly top of the hardware. It has the advantage that it is high performance and isolation. So and the drawback is expensive and complex. The examples of the hardware abstraction layer level is VMware EXXI and Gen XZN. And then operating system level. So operating system level, multiple containers share the same OS kernel. For example, Docker, LXC. So this all comes under OS level. So and then library support level. So library support level that intercepts API calls between application and OS. Examples of library support levels are Wine. Okay, that it runs Windows apps on the Linux and VCUDA. Okay, these are all the examples of library support levels. Okay, so anyway, it has some drawback and some merits. Okay, the merit is that it is a low overhead, and the drawback is limited flexibility and isolation. So under them, the application level. So the application level, it virtualizes behind virtualization application that is in. So the examples of application levels are Java Virtual Machine and .NET CLR. Okay, these all comes under the application level. Okay, so under then the advantage of the application level is excellent isolation, and the drawback is lower performance and more complexity. So under then we are going for the topic. It is virtualization. Structures. So this is the virtualization structures. So finally, let's see how the virtualization can be structured, either directly on hardware or on top of an operating system. The two main structures that are the bare metal approach, that is type 1 hypervisor. A hypervisor runs directly on the hardware. It has a high performance. It is used for the enterprise. And the type 2 is hosted approach. Okay, the hypervisor runs on the existing OS easier setup. It has a lower performance can compare with the type 1 hypervisor. The examples of type 2 hypervisors are VirtualBox VMware workstation. That all comes under type 2 hypervisors. So the hosted virtualization structure is the basic building house inside another building for the easier setup but less efficient. So overall, what we are discussing in this presentation is The virtualization that abstracts the computing resources and allows a multiple system to share the hardware efficiently. So it is the backbone of the modern cloud infrastructures that are enabling key scalability, agility, and cost effectiveness. Okay, and the students, what we are going to take away from this entire session is, so virtualization is the abstraction of hardware or software resources. Okay, fine. Under them, the hypervisors that manages of virtual environments. Okay, and what are the major types? Application virtualization, network virtualization, desktop virtualization, and storage virtualization, and server virtualization, data virtualization. And implementation level, regarding the implementation levels from instruction level architecture to the application layer. Okay, these are all of the topics we already discussed. And what are virtualization structures we discussed? What is a type 1, type 2, type 1 otherwise called as a bare metal, type 2 otherwise called as the hosted hypervisor. Thank you.